Let us pray. Lord, we thank you for allowing this day where friends, family, peers, and special guests can come to congratulate these senior cadets as they take the oath and become new lieutenants in the U.S. Army. Your word says, trust the Lord with all your heart, soul, and mind, and lean not on our own understanding. I pray as they go forward from here that in all times, good or bad, when everything goes well or when it all falls apart, you guide and protect them. I pray you give them a clear mind in the murkiest of situations so they can make decisions that will positively impact their subordinates, their leaders, and our country. I pray that you bless these young men and women who have made the decision to be one of the few willing to serve in their position as an Army officer. I pray in times of fear you give them courage, in times of great loss you restore their hope, and when they feel they can't go on anymore, that you give them strength they've never known. Once again, I thank you for these young men and women, friends and classmates who have chosen to serve. Amen.
Thank you, Cadet Lindley. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Good afternoon. My name is Cadet Dylan Dowdy. On behalf of the Eastern Illinois University ROTC Department, Professor of Military Science, Lieutenant Colonel Eric J. Savickas, welcome to the commissioning ceremony. Today we are here to honor the accomplishments of our senior cadets as they take the oath of office and pin on the rank of the United States Army officer. We are honored to have Brigadier General Richard J. Hayes Jr. here today to officiate the ceremony. Additionally, we are very grateful for the many distinguished guests, family members, and friends who are lieutenants. Your presence here today is greatly appreciated. We are thankful for each of you who took time from your busy schedules to be here on this important occasion. Please join me in extending a warm welcome to all of our very special guests. At this time, we'd like to play a short video which highlights the honor, courage, and selfless service of those who answer the call to duty on a daily basis. A video showing the heroes of the great country, those who stood tall and said, "I will serve."
Every society needs heroes, and every society has them. The reason we don't often see them is because we don't bother to look. There are two kinds of heroes. Heroes who shine in the face of great adversity, who perform an amazing feat in a difficult situation. And heroes who live among us, who do their work unceremoniously, unnoticed by many of us, but who make a difference in the lives of others. This quote from the President of the Republic of Indonesia, Yudhoyono, truly applies to this great country as we gather here tonight. For over 237 years, our nation has been blessed with heroes who have silently and valiantly answered the call to duty to protect this nation and our way of life and to preserve peace. For the last 40 years, including over a decade of war, this call has been answered only by volunteers whose love of country inspired them to simply say, "I will serve. Send me." Our Army heroes serve not for glory or fame. Their extraordinary story of honor, courage, and selflessness goes largely unsung. Their reward comes not in riches or wealth. They serve because they understand the degree of responsibility that comes with their freedom. Their reward comes in knowing they are part of something larger than themselves, and they are making a difference for their nation, for their communities, and for their families. The men and women who serve in our Army today are the brightest, the most educated, and the best trained in our history. They are of the highest moral character. They are physically fit and resilient. They are America's Army, the strength of this nation, because they represent the best this nation has to offer. They come from every corner of the country and from every walk of life. They represent every race, creed, and religion. They are native-born and immigrant. They are the star athlete, the straight-A student, and the drum major of the marching band. Fathers and sons, mothers and daughters, husbands and wives, neighbors, friends and strangers. Strengthened by their diversity, bound by a common set of values, tested by challenging and realistic training, and supported by cutting-edge technology, our soldiers make our Army the best on the face of the planet. Today, less than 1% of the nation's citizens bear the responsibility of defending America and protecting our liberty. These extraordinary men and women allow us to speak our minds, to worship as we choose, to pursue our dreams, and to sleep peacefully through the night, secure in the knowledge that no one can take these cherished rights from us. President Obama said, "They are a generation that has borne the burden of our security during a hard decade of sacrifice." He went on to say, "Their service speaks to the very essence of America, a spirit that says no matter how hard the journey, no matter how steep the climb, we don't quit." Our soldiers are a symbol of strength and hope to the world. With courage, valor, and honor, they have brought freedom to millions. With innovation and teamwork, they have built roads, hospitals, and schools. With strength and determination, they have rescued thousands from rising floodwaters and the crumbling ruins of earthquake-damaged buildings. And with compassion, they have delivered medicine and food to millions. Tonight, our children sleep secure and at peace. Tomorrow they will awaken once again to a land of endless possibilities, where any dream can come true if you work hard enough. Tonight, the American soldier stands guard around the world to ensure those dreams can come true. Tonight, the Army and the nation are strong because extraordinary men and women have simply said, "I will serve. Send me."
Ladies and gentlemen, it is my distinct honor to introduce our host for today's ceremony. Eastern Illinois University ROTC Department, Professor of Military Science, Lieutenant Colonel Eric J. Sabickas.
Welcome, everyone. Thank you for attending this great ceremony this evening. I appreciate all of our distinguished guests here, Dean Azadi, all the friends and family, and all the other cadets that are here in the room with us to share with us in this occasion. Hopefully you like the video by Gary Sinise. I think he's great. Anything he touches, anything he does comes out great. So if we had a soundtrack of somebody following us around talking about us and narrating, I would hope it would be Gary Sinise, because that's a great video, and I play it on occasions like this because it really hits home the types of sacrifices and the hard work and the things that people have to do that join the Army and those that make those sacrifices. And our cadets represent those sacrifices. You know, they put in 4 years of hard work to get to this point, to get to commissioning, to have the honor and privilege of pinning on the second lieutenant bars and becoming officers in the United States Army. And it's really a tremendous accomplishment. As you saw in the video, it said less than 1% of our nation's population serve. And these folks here tonight that are going to be honored and pin on the rank are representative of that 1%. And that's not many folks out there that do that. So it's a testament to these folks here this evening. Being an officer is a tremendous responsibility. We talk to the cadets throughout their 4 years here in the program and tell them that there's no bigger honor than leading soldiers in training, and unfortunately sometimes leading soldiers in combat. And we try to instill with them the maturity and the knowledge and the other skills necessary to be able to lead those soldiers when it comes time to do so. The 6 cadets that we have here commissioning this evening, and the other 5 that are their peers in the class that will commission at the end of the summer once they finish their summer courses, they have all learned those lessons, and they're ready to move out into the force and they're ready to take that ultimate responsibility. This is a big deal here tonight, and it's not to be downplayed. You commissionees will remember this for the rest of your lives, the rest of your careers. You'll remember this moment when you became officers. You know, as I was getting dressed this evening, in my nightstand next to my bed, I have my lieutenant bars from when I was commissioned 21 years ago, and I still have them. And it's just a reminder to me of where I was when I got commissioned. And I remember exactly where I was, the day, the time. I remember who pinned on my bars, and I remember who pinned on my rank as I progressed through the ranks to this point. This is very special, and it is something to be proud of. Tonight, we have the honor and privilege of having with us a guest speaker and the officiant of the ceremony this evening. He comes to us from the Illinois National Guard. Brigadier General Hayes is the Assistant Adjutant General of the state of Illinois. He himself graduated through the ROTC program at Kansas, and he has moved up through the ranks just like you guys all will throughout your careers. ROTC doesn't function and isn't successful without the partnership we have with the National Guard. It's a mutual supporting relationship. We can't do the training that we do, and we can't develop the cadets that we have without the resources of the National Guard. I was talking to General Hayes before coming down to the ceremony this evening, and I was telling him what a tremendous resource Camp Marseilles is, where we go to train, and some of the other places here in the state of Illinois. The Illinois National Guard pulls out all the stops in ensuring that the cadets in all of its ROTC programs have what we need to be successful. And then in turn, we produce officers not only for the active component of the Army, but for the reserve component in the National Guard. And tonight you'll see we have 5 of our 6 commissionees commissioning into the National Guard. Those folks commissioning will be citizen soldiers. They'll go on to have civilian careers and military careers, and in a lot of ways, they'll work harder than some of the folks that go on active duty. They have to balance two careers, 2 worlds, and they'll do it professionally. I'm not going to continue on and steal the thunder of our guest speaker tonight, but General Hayes, again, brings with him a whole resume's worth of experience, a wealth of knowledge, and he'll impart upon you what it takes to be an officer and what it takes to put on those bars that you're going to put on this evening. So without anything further, let me present our guest of honor this evening and introduce Brigadier General Richard Hayes from the Assistant Adjutant General of the state of Illinois.
How's everybody doing? You know, there's 2 things or favorite things I like to do. One is being at a ceremony where soldiers are returning from a combat zone and seeing their families for the first time. I got to do that this morning. One of our best teams came back from Afghanistan this morning. And phenomenal experience, and I got a chance to speak for like 20 seconds because I didn't want to hold that up. I'm not going to do 20 seconds with you all. And my second favorite thing to do is this, and part of it was I'm an ROTC graduate from the University of Kansas, you pointed out, but I also had a chance while I was a colonel to run the Regional Training Institute, the OCS program for the Illinois National Guard. And one of my guys is sitting back there, First Sergeant Alvis, was part of the program, but I had the joy of developing our officers. It was a little bit more accelerated than the ROTC program, but I loved doing the commissioning ceremonies because nothing is more prime than that. So it's always a great honor for me to have the opportunity to talk to newly commissioned officers, and I'm putting a little ahead there. We've got a few more minutes before we get to that. And I sincerely thank you for inviting me to come speak to all of you and to speak to you fine lieutenants. And I'm going to focus on you, and the reason I'm doing that is because I'm just going to impart things that I learned along the way, and I can tell you I made plenty of mistakes, and mistakes are going to be inherent in everything you do, and it's okay to make them. It's what you do with the mistakes, so I'm going to try and speak to that. An important item I want to share with you regarding ROTC is just the first step of your military training and your military education. And the things you learned here in the Panther Battalion really created a solid foundation for you to build you as you embark on your career. Whether it's full-time in the active Army and the National Guard and the Army Reserve. Your mission beginning today is to learn, to lead, and to care. As a British field grade officer during the French and Indian Wars, George Washington learned British military tactics and the strengths and weaknesses of the British Army, and that proved invaluable during the American Revolution. General Washington made it his duty to learn, to organize, to train, to drill, and discipline his companies and regiments. And from his observations, from reading books and from conversations with professional officers, General Washington learned the basics of battlefield tactics, as well as a broad understanding of organization and logistics. As you move forward, you must decide to educate yourself beyond the required military education courses. You need to take every opportunity to learn from those around you and those before you, as Washington did. One of Washington's greatest gifts was the ability to accept advice and the opinions of his mentors, his contemporaries, and his subordinates alike. He respected all opinions and valued all others' point of view. And when you take command of a platoon, some of you will, some of you might get a staff job, but when you get that platoon, it's critical you follow Washington's model. You're young and you don't know everything. You need to be a critical thinker. The senior NCOs in your platoons will have many, many more years' experience than you. Accept that readily and use that experience. Learn from them and allow them to be successful, and in turn, they will be successful and make you successful. I urge you to continue to receive guidance and advice from the officers above you. They're a great resource. They've been in your shoes and they know what it takes to be successful. For those of you going on active duty, make a point of learning about other professions. You're not going to get that in the active component, whereas your reserve brothers are going to see the spectrum of skills that can be brought to bear. It takes a whole team, and the reserve soldiers and officers have vast and valuable experiences applicable to war, especially when we talk about stability operations. In my civilian career, and I've been on active duty and off over a period of years, I was in the construction engineering business. And I've built big bridges, I've built embassies, and believe it or not, Ukraine, I built the embassy in Ukraine. But all those skills that people get doing their civilian are applicable in war. There's just a different time and place for it. Those who go into the reserves and National Guard while embarking on a separate and civilian professional career, use what you learn from your profession to enhance your skills and abilities, and use the military to enhance your skills and ability in your civilian job. And you've got to do both those in a symbiotic way. Your military and civilian experience will well round you into the future. Thomas Jefferson spoke of 5 languages and was deeply interested in science, invention, religion, philosophy, and architecture. Using what he learned from his personal library of over 6,000 books, Jefferson built his house at Monticello, and if you've seen it, it's really quite amazing. It's an architectural masterpiece. Jefferson used his knowledge he gained through reading to craft foreign policy and understand many cultures in order to build allegiances with European nations as Secretary of State under George Washington. His lifelong learning paid dividends in war and in peace. Continue to build on your strong foundation, educating yourself in other areas you find personal interest. You will find that diversity of experience is a significant combat multiplier as you embark on dealing in immensely complex issues. You'll find that uses for all that knowledge. You'll also find opportunities to share what you know. Your first assignment most likely will be leading a platoon of soldiers. You will notice being put in charge of enlisted soldiers who have many more years of experience than you do. The best advice I can give you is a phrase that President Roosevelt is well known for: speak softly and carry a big stick. There is no greater advice to you than that very slogan. Your NCOs are your big stick, and you need to speak softly. They know the soldiers, they know what's going on, and many of you probably have served in the Guard and Reserve, you know what I'm talking about there. But you need to speak softly. You really don't need to say much at first. Your actions will speak for you. If you show confidence in your soldiers, they'll be confident. If you allow them to learn, they'll learn. If you lead them from the front, having done your prep work and rehearsals, your soldiers will follow. You, however, must master your weapon system. You're all going to be put in charge of a particular weapon system, where it's artillery piece, an platoon, a transportation company. That craft will serve you well further in your career. learn and master your weapon system, because your soldiers are going to expect that of you. This advice I share with you, I'm sure you've heard though, throughout your military training, but as simple as it sounds, it's not always that simple. The vast majority of your time in the first couple of years will be spent buried in Army regulations, figuring out your regular and additional duty responsibilities, building reports, and planning training events. That's what officers do. These critical functions, however, you important to find, you got to go find and serve alongside your troops. And you're going to be challenged with finding that time. Never assign a task to a soldier that you won't do yourself. And if the task is to dig a trench, grab a shovel and do it alongside of them. This will earn you respect. Soldiers will follow leaders they respect. You must also care for their families. You should be equally interested in their success as a soldier and their family as you are in the success as a spouse, parent, or person. All the expensive high-tech weapons and equipment is worthless if we don't have focused professional soldiers operating it. Caring for your soldiers and families ensures they maintain the focus necessary to safely and successfully accomplish the mission that is assigned to them. You know, this morning when I was at the welcome home ceremony, I walked around and said hello to all the parents, wives and spouses and kids. And for those of you who have deployed, and there's many in the room I see have, I think it's way harder on the family than it is on the soldier in the deployment. And I was just thanking them for that. And you can't forget that, because without that foundation, the soldier always has problems. So always focus on the families as well. If your soldiers know you care, know you will see them through a personal and professional difficulty, then they will get through your difficulties. One of our generals here in Illinois, Brigadier General Stephen Huber, who's now retired from the Illinois National Guard, he commanded Task Force White Eagle in Afghanistan between 2008 and 2009. Under him was the National Guard's 33rd Brigade Combat Team, which lost 18 soldiers in that deployment. And interestingly enough, General Huber said it was his junior officers and enlisted soldiers who helped the whole task force through that tough time. He said it was many of these junior leaders who found the strength to deal with deaths, the courage to talk about families of our fallen soldiers, and the bravery to take the first steps outside the wire to show their soldiers that personal courage wasn't just an Army value, but a way of life for a leader. As you receive your commission today, stand upon your strong foundation. Do not let the opportunity to slip away, an opportunity to learn, an opportunity to lead, and an opportunity to care. Contribute in every way you can to make yourself a better soldier, a better company, a better community, and to make a better country. In a few decades, when you get about my age and when you retire, I hope you feel as Thomas Jefferson did at the end of his life, when Jefferson told his family to gather around his bedside when he died on July 4th, 1826, "I've done for my country and all for mankind that I can do." Thank you and congratulations on this great day. I wish you all the best going forward. And to the families and friends and loved ones that are here, this is really a special occasion. I can tell you, I can clearly remember when I got commissioned, Lieutenant Colonel James Laster, and my mom and my dad pinned my second lieutenant bars on me. And luckily, my dad died last year, but he got to pin these on me last year. And what an honor that was to be with my father to really replicate what had happened 28 years before. So it was a great day, and cherish this because you only get to do this once. No redos. Cool? All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, General Hayes. And now we'll continue on with the commissioning of the cadets as United States Army Second Lieutenants. Commissioning consists of 3 events. First is the oath of office. Military officers take an oath to support and defend the Constitution of the United States. The origins of the oath used today can be traced back to the first oath approved by Congress under the Constitution in 1789. They can be further traced to military oaths taken by those serving in the Continental Army in 1776. Commissionees, post. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the administering of the oath to the commission used by Brigadier General Hayes. General Hayes will administer 2 oaths this evening. The first oath is the federal oath of office given to all commissionees, and the second is the Illinois State oath given to the 4 cadets commissioned into the Illinois Army National Guard.
Raise your right hand. I state your name. Having been appointed an officer in the Army of the United States.
having been appointed officer of the Army of the United States,
in the grade of second lieutenant,
in the grade of second lieutenant,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
foreign and domestic,
foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith
that I will bear true faith
and allegiance to the same,
and allegiance to the same,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well
or will
and faithfully discharge
and faithfully discharge
the duties of the office upon which I am about to enter.
the duties of the office upon which I am about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations. All right, just a precursor, federal recognition, when you go through ROTC, you get federal recognition. The state ran National Guard OCS programs get state recognition, then subsequently they get federal recognition. So we did the federal recognition. Being a federally recognized officer, I get to do that. But now these four candidates, or cadets, I keep getting those mixed, but these four cadets are going to read, and I'm going to read them oath of office for the Illinois National Guard. Raise your right hand. I state your name.
I, Joshua Sludges,
Do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
and I will obey the orders of the President of the United States
and obey the orders of the President of the United States
and the Governor of the State of Illinois.
and the Governor of the State of Illinois,
That I make this obligation freely,
that I make this obligation freely
without any mental reservations
without any mental
or
reservations
purpose of evasion.
or purpose of evasion,
And that I will well
and that I will well
and faithfully discharge the duties of the office of Second Lieutenant.
faithfully discharge the duties of the office
Again, sorry. And that I will well
and that I will well
and faithfully discharge
and faithfully discharge
the duties of the office of Second Lieutenant
the duties of the office of Second Lieutenant
in the Army National Guard
in the Army National Guard
of the State of Illinois,
of the State of Illinois,
upon which I am about to enter.
upon which I am about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations. Cool. Trust me, that's difficult for even me to administer with all those words, so you guys do great, don't worry.
The next event is the pinning of the gold bars. The new lieutenant has the pleasure of choosing the individuals who will pin on their lieutenant rank for the first time. This too is a moment of honor for those conducting the pinning, for it is a symbol of dedication, sacrifice, and support they have made while helping the young officer to reach a shining moment. Lastly, the newly commissioned lieutenant will exchange salutes with a non-commissioned officer of his choosing and present them with a silver dollar. The silver dollar is traditionally given in exchange for the first salute. The salute is an honored military tradition which has always been used to indicate a sign of respect. Further recognition that in the profession of arms, military courtesy is both the right and the responsibility of every soldier. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we will conduct these final two parts of the commissioning for each of the cadets. Cadet Michael Bird, please step forward. Michael Bird was born in Villa Grove, Illinois, and graduated from Villa Grove High School in 2010. He enrolled at Eastern Illinois University in the fall of 2010 and joined the ROTC program. He was a member of the Ranger Challenge team and has earned the German Armed Forces Proficiency Badge, Gold. During his time at Eastern, he served in a number of leadership positions to include Carmen Hall Resident Assistant, President of the Leadership and Excellence Club, and President of the Douglas Hall Council. Michael graduated with a Bachelor of Arts in History, as well as a minor in Military Science. Cadet Bird will serve in the active component as an ordnance officer. At this time, Cadet Bird's parents and siblings will come forward to pin on his rank. To all who shall see these presents, greeting. Know ye that reposing special trust and confidence in the patriotism, valor, fidelity, and abilities of Michael Byrd, I do appoint him as a second lieutenant in the United States Army, done at the city of Washington, this 9th day of May, in the year of our Lord, 2014. By the President, signed, John M. McHugh, Secretary of the Army.
They used to be easier. There's just a little bar you put it on.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I present to you Second Lieutenant Michael Byrd. Cadet Jacob Dallas, please step forward. Jacob Dallas was born in Charleston, Illinois, and graduated from Charleston High School in 2010. He enrolled at Eastern Illinois University in the fall of 2010 and joined the ROTC program. He was a member of the Rancher Challenge team and has earned the German Armed Forces Proficiency Badge, Gold. Jacob served in many leadership positions to include Leadership and Excellence Club Vice President, Dean Student Advisory Board, and the School Business Academic Advisory Board. Jacob will graduate with a Bachelor of Science in Applied Engineering and Technology as well as a minor in Military Science. Cadet Dallas will serve in the Illinois Army National Guard as an infantry officer while pursuing a civilian career in manufacturing. At this time,